Picture this. The floodlights are illuminating an empty stadium. Thousands of empty seats surrounding the pitch. No roaring crowd, no flashing cameras. Just one 15-year-old boy, a football, and a dream that honestly seemed far, far too big for his age. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're looking at the absolutely incredible journey of Lamine Yamal. Because long before the world knew his name, or, watched his historic Euro 2024 run, football wasn't about the shiny trophies or the massive headlines for him. It was purely about joy.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because, right, life wasn't always just a smooth ride to the top. There were definitely moments when people looked at his age and just immediately doubted him. The whispers were constant. He's too young, he's not ready, wait a few years. It's like the world looked at his birth certificate and just decided what his limits should be.
But this brings us to a really fascinating contrast. While others looked at him and simply saw a child, Lamine looked at the exact same situation and saw an opportunity. For him, every touch of the ball felt like absolute freedom. Every pickup match on the concrete pitches of his hometown, Roccafonda, felt like a literal World Cup final in his vivid imagination. He just didn't let external perception dictate his internal drive.
Chapter 1. The Boy with Big Dreams. He was out there training when absolutely no one was watching. He listened far more than he spoke, absorbing every piece of advice like a sponge, and crucially, turning every single mistake into a lesson rather than an excuse. He was out in those streets, chasing that massive, World Cup-sized imagination, putting in the quiet work that would soon make a very, very loud noise.
Chapter 2. Joy on the Big Stage. So, when Lamine finally stepped onto the pitch for Barcelona's first team, making history as their youngest player in over a century, by the way, millions of eyes were watching his every single move. Now, think about that for a second. That kind of pressure would have absolutely crushed most teenagers. But instead of being crushed by it, he smiled. Because for him, football had never been about fear. It was just a canvas for expressing himself. That immense debut pressure simply couldn't break him.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we saw from him. On the pitch, every dribble carried the unshakable confidence of a boy just playing for fun. Every pass showed a maturity far, far beyond his years. And every goal? Well, that was undeniable proof that talent simply has no age. He was literally putting on a masterclass, not just in skill, but in mindset.
Chapter 3. The Weight of Expectations.
Let's walk through this escalating pressure cooker for a moment. Step 1. The fans. Suddenly, they expect pure magic from you every single weekend. Step 2, the media. They start comparing you to literal legends of the sport, guys like Lionel Messi. And step 3, the critics. They sit back and just wait for one bad performance to declare the hype is over. Even victories couldn't always silence the criticism. And social media was right there, judging every single touch, every missed chance, every single decision he made on that pitch. It's so easy to forget the truth here. Beneath the famous shirt is still just a teenager trying to grow up. The contrast between his massive worldwide fame and his actual youth is staggering. Yet, through all the noise, the criticism, and those soaring expectations, Lamine kept showing up. Not to aggressively prove the doubters wrong, but simply because he loves the game.
Chapter 4. Grounded by Family.
So on one side, you have fame and these suffocating expectations. But on the other, you have his roots and his family. His family, heavily rooted in his diverse heritage, became his absolute greatest strength. With a Moroccan father and an Equatorial Guinean mother, flags he proudly displays on his boots, by the way, they reminded him exactly where he came from whenever fame threatened to change things. They deliberately celebrated Lamine the person long before Lamine the footballer. And that is exactly what ensured his feet stayed firmly planted on the ground.
Chapter 5. Inspiring the Next Generation.
Now, what's really interesting here is how a little boy's impossible dream ignited a global wave of inspiration. Kids everywhere started copying his goal celebrations, throwing up the famous 304 hand gesture representing his hometown postal code. They started wearing his shirt proudly in the streets. And most importantly, they started believing that age absolutely cannot stop greatness. Millions of eyes were watching around the world, and they were seeing themselves in him.
If he can do it, maybe I can too. That is the whisper of children worldwide. That, right there, is the true peak of his journey. It wasn't about a specific goal or a trophy. It was about seeing the smiles on the faces of kids who looked at a teenager on the television and suddenly believed in their own impossible dreams.
In that moment, football becomes something so much bigger than just winning. It becomes hope.
As we've seen in this explainer, Lamine Yamal's story isn't just about extraordinary talent. It's about hope. It's about having the courage to stay humble when the entire world praises you, and staying strong when that same world criticizes you. It's about keeping the heart of that fearless child alive, no matter how big the stage gets.
To sum up the core themes we've covered today, the making of a legend is still being written. And yeah, there will be triumphs, and there will inevitably be heartbreaks and setbacks. But legends are built on so much more than just raw talent. They're built on resilience through those setbacks, humility amid global praise, and the unwavering courage to believe when others doubt.
As long as he keeps playing with the heart of that fearless child, no challenge will ever be bigger than his dream. Because perhaps, years from now, when football fans look back at his incredible career, they won't just remember the phenomenal goals or the shiny trophies, they'll remember the boy who refused to stop dreaming.
Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder today. If talent truly has no age, what dream are you waiting to chase? Don't let anyone look at you and tell you that you aren't ready. Take a page out of Lamine Yamal's book, hold on to that fearless joy, and start chasing that dream today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.